Lecture 26, the second, Why Leaders Should Ask, Part 1. This is the 26th lecture of the leadership course. The previous lecture discussed the first mode of deep thinking, decision thinking, while this lecture delves into the second mode of deep thinking, system thinking. System thinking is crucial for leaders, but most people are not adept at it. Would you like to know how good your system thinking ability is? I can test you with a small case study. I call it the shortest management case study. 1. The shortest management case study. This case study is a short story that takes only about 20 seconds to tell, but it contains profound and rich insights that are particularly important for leaders. You may have heard of this case study before, and someone may have told you this story to illustrate a certain point. However, few people truly understand the management implications of this story. I could talk about the management implications of this story all day. Today, I will try to explain the 3 key points of system thinking to you in about 10 minutes. Here is the shortest management case study. 3 stonemasons were working, and a passerby asked them what they were doing. The first stonemason said, "I am cutting stones to feed my family." The second stonemason said, "I am doing the best stonemasonry work in the country." The third stonemason looked up, his eyes shining, and said, "I am building a great cathedral." That's the case study. Now, suppose you are the leader of these 3 stonemasons, and they are your employees. Which stonemason would make you feel most at ease? Which stonemason would make you most worried? 2. Answer to the case study. Before you answer, let me tell you where this case study comes from. This short story is used as a management case study and originated from management guru Drucker. Later, a famous European management scholar named Malik also analyzed this case study. Malik said that analyzing this case study is not difficult for an experienced manager. However, I think Malik may not have really discussed this case study in the classroom. I have discussed this case study many times in the classroom, and my students are also experienced managers, but the answers of the vast majority of people are completely opposite to those of Malik and Drucker. Let me first talk about the answers of the vast majority of people. See if your answer is the same as theirs. First, which stonemason would make people feel most at ease? The answer of the vast majority of people is that the second stonemason would make people feel most at ease. The second stonemason said, "I am doing the best stonemasonry work in the country." This is the pursuit of excellence. There is a term that is still popular now, called craftsman spirit. Many people also use this term to praise the second stonemason for having the craftsman spirit. Now, which stonemason would make people most worried? On this question, the vast majority of people are divided into 2 camps. One camp believes that the third stonemason would make people most worried. The third stonemason said, "I am building a great cathedral." This camp believes that this shows that the third stonemason is aiming too high and is not content with his job. Another camp believes that the first stonemason would make people most worried. The first stonemason said, "I am cutting stones to feed my family." This shows that he has no passion or motivation for his work and may just be going through the motions. What is your answer? Are you the same as the vast majority of people? Now I will tell you Drucker and Malik's answer. They are different from what most people think. They both agree that the third stonemason would make people feel most at ease, and the second stonemason would make people most worried. I agree with their views. Most people are wrong. As a leader, you must learn to think systematically. Only by mastering system thinking can you see through the 3 stonemasons case study. Below, I will use the 3 key points of system thinking to help you analyze the shortest management case study. 3. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Regarding system thinking, I will talk about 3 key points. The first key point is that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. A system is a whole, and it is not simply a collection of individual parts. For example, a pile of loose sand is not a system. A pile of loose sand only becomes a system when it is connected in an effective way to achieve a common goal, such as a sandbox for children to play in. If you look at the parts, a sandbox and a pile of loose sand look the same, they are all grains of sand. However, if you look at the connections and goals, they will be different. Therefore, when analyzing a system, you cannot just look at the individual parts that make up the system, you also need to look at the connections and goals. Let's go back to the 3 stonemasons case study. The 3 stonemasons are working on cutting stones, and they are the parts. The stones are also parts. There are connections between the 3 stonemasons and between the 3 stonemasons and the stones. Why are they cutting stones? Their goal is to build a great cathedral. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. This is the first key point of system thinking. This key point tells us that when analyzing a system, we cannot just analyze the parts, we also need to analyze the connections between them and the goals they are pointing to. Parts, connections, and goals are the 3 focal points for analyzing a system. This key point is important, and the other key points of system thinking are derived from it.